Q&A session, and we aim to wrap up part A by 2:45. We will then have a short 5-minute break before start the part B. And part B is specifically for our speakers and authors participating in the mentoring program, and it comprises 2 sections. In the first section, we will set up breakout rooms, discussions, and we will further discuss about our reviewing process tasks in the mentoring program, and we will see if there are any other further questions arise for our 2 speakers. And the second part of the part B, the last part, it's specifically for the authors, and it's around half an hour. In this last part, my colleague, briefly Lennon, from the Book Mentorship Program editorial team, he will share some essential information regarding the chapter submission and the review process that is scheduled for July and August. We anticipate concluding the part B and the whole webinar 4 p.m., of course, Central European summertime. Now, slowly, I would like to start with our presentations. I'm delighted to introduce our first speaker, Senija Causevic, a professor at the Rabat Business School, International University of Rabat, Morocco. She's actually in Morocco, and she has a second affiliation in Marketing and Cultural Studies at SOAS, School of Oriental and African Studies, University of London, UK. First of all, thank you, Senija, for agreeing to be our speaker in this webinar. And if you are ready, we are happy to listen your experiences as a reviewer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Senija, and I have like a 10 minutes presentation, and I like to speak a lot. So I guess I will need moderators to tell me when I'm supposed to stop. And,
okay, I will do that.
Yeah, and I basically focused mostly on review of journal articles because that's where I have the most of experience. So that is what I would do during this couple of minutes we have. So let me just go to my slides. I'm sharing. I'm trying to share it. Yeah, perfect. So critical insights of academic gatekeeping. That's how I basically called it. But let's see how it goes. So what is exactly a peer review process? It helps the reviewer it helps the editor of the journal, of the special issue journal, to decide which articles will be publishable and which one will be rejected. So this is like this last and a very important part of academic process. So, and academics, which are very similar to those who are submitting, are reviewers. Those who have the knowledge and experience similar to the reviewers, to the authors of the journal articles. So when they are submitting. So, and what is the role of the reviewer? The reviewer represents the field. It basically, what I mean by saying that the reviewer represents the field, it's the guardian of the field. Doesn't want and the guardian of the journal as well, representative of the journal, and the journal is the representative of the field. So the reviewer doesn't want to downgrade the discipline, the interdisciplinary approach, the scientific approach, doesn't want to downgrade it, and will do everything possible to keep it where it is, to keep it on a high level. So reflecting and maintaining the standards debates, emerging trends, and really focusing on really contemporary context, what the scholarly community is part of. But what is very important as well, to be open, to know that the gates need to be open to the new ideas which are about to come and reinvigorate the field, help the field grow. And that is where lots of challenges are coming. If you are used on the meta-theoretical concept, always having the same old theoretical constructs, and you're just applying them, and you know that it goes well in that particular journal, that is kind of challenging to deal with. So as a reviewer, you need to understand that you need to really get yourself up there and be open to the new ideas and accept new ideas, new methodologies. That sounds much easier when I say that than really it is. But this should be, because otherwise we are hypocritical, because we want contributions to the knowledge, but basically we are putting the gates and we don't allow it. So as the representatives of the field, we want our field to develop and to grow, but we want to maintain the standard and to make sure that the way how it develops and it grows in a way that it develops our field. So we are not putting any fertilizers, but we are having organic production. So that is how I would say that in that particular context. So we don't want anything artificial, but we want that the things go smoothly and really do extend the field. As a reviewer, you are a mentor. You help. When you see a good idea, what you do, you guide the author to develop that idea further, so that idea can shine, so that everyone can benefit from that. You give constructive feedback, specific, fair. You're not there to belittle, but you are there to invigorate. It is especially important, and as reviewers, we realize when we are dealing with the early career researchers and the researchers from underrepresented communities. And this is very important to understand, to get the less heard voices being heard, to accept new methodologies which are not Western centered, which I'm here in Morocco, and I have my own experience with a lot of really amazing, beautiful knowledge from sub-Saharan Africa, from African communities. But it's very challenging to publish it in Western-centric journals because they can't apply the methodologies or the conceptual frameworks which are developed in the West, because they don't work here. And that is something what really needs to be put forward. As a mentor, I shouldn't be a gatekeeper, but I should help that those ideas see the light of the day, and maybe allow Western societies to learn from Africa. Because there's really a lot to work and learn from here. I grew up in former Yugoslavia, where we had the non-aligned movement, and that was really something what every day I spent here reminded me of the experiences of what our parents and grandparents had by working in these areas. So it reminded me in academic context in a similar kind of environment. So, and why would the editor actually send a paper for a review? Like in some journals, it's like 95% of the papers are desk rejected. Only 5% are sent for a review, or 8% are sent for a review. Depends on the discipline, but sometimes it's really, really a lot needed for this. So the big ideas need to be courageous, innovative, and original. So the authors really have to highlight the originality of their ideas. So make the readers, the reviewers, understand why this is a contribution to the knowledge. They need to be of a readable and publishable standard. They need to be well illustrated. And also they need to be of exceptional merits, and the methodology can be applied to other contexts, to other oceans, other seasides and coastal communities. Likewise. And that comes to the point of a gatekeeper. Like a gatekeeper has to have this in the mindset, but be open to the new ideas, to the ideas of which have been marginalized, but which are amazing to develop the field forward. So what is the role of the gatekeeper? First, meet academic rigor. Like if there is a good idea but doesn't meet academic rigor, which is like clarity, originality, innovativeness, and relevance. No matter how good idea was, if it's not written in a way that it really points and says this is original, this is innovative, that we as reviewers can't see that it's innovative, that will be just rejected already by the editor and will not even reach the reviewers. So, and the reviewers are there to shuffle those which went through the first gate. The reviewers are the second gate. Again, like they are essential to allow that papers that embody critical thinking and give voice to the marginalized, that they are able to be published. It's easier said than done. In many cases, those papers are simply dismissed because they don't follow the theoretical concepts which have been developed like 30, 40 years ago in some areas. So I'm not sure how it is when we, if we are having more like engineering backgrounds or similar, but I'm talking about more from social science perspective, business management, sociology, anthropology, etc. So like social science and humanities perspective. So what is the reviewing task in practice? So if you start believing in your greatness, it is the death of your creativity. So this is something what I would like to start. This is the last point of the review. That's why the PhD student work is usually the best work because the PhD students are still very humble. More and more you go forward, you start believing that you are great, and academic ego is really something what really challenges the development forward of the good ideas and the good thoughts, and the developing the ideas forward. So the believing in your greatness is the death of your creativity. So this is something what is very important to get through. And all the bad reviewers, what they have in common is that they are ego-driven, and they really want their own papers to be put inside, although they don't give anything particular to that particular article. They don't give any development, any contribution, but they have to be there. So sometimes it's a very challenging process, and that's on author to decide what to do in those kinds of situations. I've been as an author myself so many times in these kinds of situations when I realized who the reviewer is, because the reviewer was forcing me to add papers which I really didn't need to add. I added it. So at the end of the day, because I did not add it in the first set of reviews, and like whether my paper will be rejected or I will just publish it with one extra reference. Fair enough, I did add it. So strike the balance sometimes. And the last slide I would probably say is the reviewers' do's and the reviewers' don'ts. So the reviewer has to offer a feedback which is doable, which is able to be achieved. Like not asking something, giving me 3 months to do the review, but asking me something what I can't do in 3 months. So this is one point. Being respectful and professional, not criticizing it in such a negative way as some reviewers are doing, ill-intended, really trying to belittle the author. This is something what no reviewer should do. That will be like really bad practice. That is and staying within the expertise. If it's not my expertise, I'm saying no, I'm not available to interview that because it's not my expertise. Say that. Don't just accept everything just to get a point. Oh, I did a review. Say it's not my expertise. Disclose if there are any conflicts of interest. If you see that you know who did that particular paper, it's a small community, disclose it, and you are not entitled to interview to do this. If you have a critical feedback to put, say why is it important? Give an example. Maybe give a reference which is maybe not yours, but somebody else's reference, which can really be helpful for this. Understand, help, be there to help, to assist, because you're the guardian of your field, and you want your field to grow forward, and you do everything for your field to grow forward, and you also wants to be published in that particular journal. So it's a mutual interest and mutual benefit. And you, as a reviewer, you have responsibility and accountability as a reviewer to say nicely, please do that. And this is the way how to do it. Explain it. Why? Not just say this is wrong, but say why do you think it's wrong. Again, I would say remove your ego. Self-reference criterion. Not the whole world thinks as you think, or your culture thinks. Put it on the side. Reflect on it. Make being aware of unconscious bias which you may put on a really amazing article. Be constructive and reflect at the end. Another point I would say, be timely. If you don't have time to do the review, say no, I'm not available. The same as it's not my expertise. So these are 2 points which need to be discussed. So don't be vague. On the other side, don't be ego-driven. Don't try to belittle the author. Don't have a tunnel vision. Be ethical and moral while you're doing your reviews. So all of this is like morality standards, standards of ethics and morale should get into everything what we are doing as academics. And sometimes we because of this fast-paced publishing, we forget about it. So the last good review characteristics: fairness, constructiveness, time management, specific, based on evidence, balance, based on evidence, balance weaknesses and strengths. So these are like some sets of the good reviews and key elements which need to be a part of the review process. One point I wanted to also share with you is at the end, artificial intelligence. I did not put much here because I would have probably to talk about 45 minutes about that because I teach here about that as well. But like this is something what we may discuss later on, what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. So I'm happy to discuss it further.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya, for such an insightful, colorful, and energetic presentation. I particularly like the statement when you say reviewer needs to give a feedback in a way to let the idea shine, to help the idea shine. Yeah, thank you for your presentation. For the questions, before the questions, I would like to go to our second presenter and present him shortly. Our second presenter is Professor Dr. Godfrey Baldacchino. He's from the Department of Sociology at the University of Malta. And actually, I have had the privilege of knowing him personally and having been hosted by him at the University of Malta during both the years 2020 and 2024 for my studies. I really enjoy his lectures on island studies and our informal and formal discussion on the topics related to island studies literature. And Professor Godfrey, if you are ready, I would like to now give you the floor to you.
Yes, thank you, Wilke, and marhaba to Tanya, my Mediterranean colleague in Morocco. It's a pleasure to be here. And of course, I will not repeat the excellent comments that Tanya has made. I will add to them, perhaps being a little bit more technical. And I will try to answer 6 questions, the 6 questions that you sent us in order to prepare for this event today. The first question is, what is a reviewer? My answer to this question is a constructive critic. So please, if you are trying to review someone, don't shoot the messenger. Focus on the message. You are not there to glorify or to denigrate the author. That person has a life. But you are there to critique the substance of the work that has been transmitted. This is sometimes forgotten. Okay, there are personality politics in academia. Let's not go there. We need to rise above personal issues. That's why we try to promote anonymity, but today not all journals do that. You would know that, right? So the idea is to focus on the substance of the paper. Is it a paper that deserves being supported in order to make it publishable? Tanya spoke about the 2 extremes, publication and rejection. Those are the 2 extremes. It is very rare that you receive in your inbox as an editor or as a reviewer a manuscript that is either publishable straight away or, after a few seconds you say, this is hopeless. It's garbage. Usually most papers are somewhere in between, and you need to decide whether that manuscript deserves being given the time, the patience, the nurturing to make it publishable. So we are indeed in those cases mentors. Another thing you need to do if you are a reviewer, you need to assure authenticity. Has the paper been generated by a generative AI mechanism? Has it already been published? Is the author only quoting themselves? Or not acknowledging, and therefore not acknowledging the literature in the field? These are very important considerations, right? So the reviewer is there. The person has been described as a gatekeeper, quite eloquently. It is that person is there to deepen scholarship in the field, but also to widen scholarship in the field. So you improve the connectivity of the discipline, the knowledge within the discipline, but at the same time, scratching at the horizon, scratching at the border of that discipline. And that's where you need to be a little brave, perhaps a little risky, a little entrepreneurial, in accommodating material that does not necessarily address the canons of the literature. Dear colleagues, this is something else to keep in mind. Most disciplines have their towering figures. Most disciplines have authors that you absolutely need to quote. Perhaps even you need to bend your knees at their altar, right? Those authors become dogmatic When you have this attitude in a discipline, it becomes very, very difficult to attack the core tenets of that discipline. But at the same time, we are in academia, and we should remind ourselves, listen, apart from reviewing, do we have a more objective way of assessing our work? People keep telling us that we're doing great work, but it is the reviewing process only that gives us the fairest chance of an authentic response. It is the only time in our lives, whether we are entry academics or full professors, it is the only time where we get the best criticism to our work. And for those of you who are young, most of you are quite young, even full professors can have manuscripts rejected. All right? It is something that we live through. We have to survive this. It continues to happen even in our ripe old age. Take that from me. So that's fair question one. Question two, what is the value of reviewing? And I'd like to add to what Tanya has said, the notion of the relationship. When you submit a review, you are entering into a relationship with an editor and with a series of reviewers who may be known to you or not. There may be a give and take, a to and fro, a ping pong of ideas, of suggestions, of recommendations. You are not obliged to accept everything that is being recommended. But please, if there are things that you don't accept from your reviewers, make sure that you explain why. Provide the justification of why you humbly disagree with certain suggestions. And your assessment, your stature in the field will grow as a result. Right? Academia is a relationship. It's not just a struggle with a manuscript, it's a struggle for supporting the discipline, being members of a community. The third question, what makes a good review? Now here, most journals have started to provide actual detailed guidelines of how to review manuscripts, okay? So if I'm a reviewer for a journal, probably that journal will send me via email or will alert me to a website where the details of how to carry out a good review in that specific area of knowledge are to be carried out. Apart from that, remember that reviewing today takes up usually 3 different forms. Well, one, pun intended, is the form. Sometimes the journal will send you a form and you just fill in the blanks. Questions about structure, about language, about methodology, about ethics, super important, about references, about citation styles. You just fill in the blanks and you say yes or no, or you assign points on a Likert scale. That's the first way in which some people carry out reviews. The second way is the annotated review. So for those of us who are very finicky with our work, we can grab the manuscript and we start annotating page, paragraph, and line with comments, adding questions, introducing suggestions, perhaps even correcting typos, particularly from individuals who don't have the benefit of English as a first or second language, but whom we want to publish. The third form is the general comment, right? So you pass a judgment on the paper. It can be about the whole paper as a whole or in relation to specific sections or specific arguments in that paper. The next question is the do's and don'ts for a reviewer. What should a reviewer do? A reviewer should assist, should mentor, should try to support as much as possible the person to get published. Unfortunately, we are dealing with a world today where various journals have percentages or quotas, and they are very proud to say, even on their websites, we only publish 5% of what we received. Oh gosh. What does that mean? Does it mean that you've got too many good papers, you don't publish them all? Unfortunately, yes. And that's very unfair. Don't worry, go somewhere else. Publish somewhere else. And my suggestion is publish in open access. Try to publish in open access. Today, there are also journals that are diamond open access, which means that there are no fees for both authors and readers. And your impact will be greater. You will be more cited because there are no gates. There are no challenges to access. One of the don'ts of a reviewer, as I said, is to attack the person, is to argue that the person needs to quote the reviewer. If you are going to suggest particular reasons, particular general reasons and comments about a manuscript, come up with corroborations, come up with justifications. Avoid general and bland statements. They don't mean anything. This paper is bad. This paper is awful. What do you mean? Okay. Reviewers are not encouraged to send single-line reviews. Those are useless. Please explain for the benefit of the author. Finally, any tips? This is my last point. Any tips? My quick answer here is practice makes perfect. The more you try to publish, the better you get at it. Of course, you will be hit. You will be demolished regularly by reviewers, but you will get up again. It's just like that song. You know the song? I get knocked down, but I get up again. Nobody's going to keep me down. Take that as a lesson. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Godfrey, for such a honest, sharp style of presentation. Now, I would like to slowly open up the discussion to our audience. You can write your question in the chat window or ask your questions orally by raising your hand. I will be happy to read them. Okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, this is a question from Carla. What do you think about open peer review in scientific publishing? Do you see more benefits or risks? I don't know, Professor Godfrey, you mentioned about the importance of open review process. You would like to
Let me start.
Yeah.
We are going through a transition, dear colleagues. We are going through a transition about ownership of knowledge. All right. And this is going to be a very important area of political engagement, because on one hand, we have big companies that are trolling data because data is power, data is knowledge. But at the same time, academia is fighting back. And we're trying to ensure that material that is generated usually by public funds, right, remains in the public realm. That's what open access is all about. When I started trying to set up a journal back in 2003, I wrote to 13 different publishers. They all said no for different reasons. For that reason, I set up an open access journal in 2004, actually. Now it has become more mainstream. Now it is these journals, these established journals, which are chasing me because they want to take over the journal I set up, because they've realized it's good. And I'm saying, no, thank you. Not at all. Why put it behind a paywall when you can maximize impact? So various journals are moving along this road. The European Commission already, as you probably know, when it gives you research grants, it will include money to publish in open access journals, because you are obliged to publish in open access journals. So eventually, I think sooner or later, a lot of the established, you call them scientific journals, will also follow the trend, because it pays, because it gives them major impact.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, please, Senija.
Just a couple of words from here. The only challenge still at some universities is that when you're applying for promotion or something like that, they want to see you on a list of journals which they support, in the UK, there is like this journal rankings, and they don't include open access journals. Very few open access journals they include. So in Morocco, there is a list of journals where I'm supposed to publish, but not a single one of them is open access. So one is open access, where I'm having a paper in proofs at the moment. So, but it's so challenging, and especially when you are in a bit more developing countries and marginalized communities which want to be accepted as a kind of the universities which want to be accepted as important universities on the world scene, they want us all to publish in a bit more in those paywall journals. So like I'm working on this like as well here to say like, well, no, we should not really just promote the people, promote the colleagues simply because they publish on a paywall under paywall. And on the other side, like open access, it is so much is important, especially for developing countries and universities who don't have the access. Like so many of the very bright scholars who can't access the journals, but they can access journal like Godfrey is the one which is open access. And many universities have moved forward and start really to really be grateful for this opportunity. And we have to move as soon as possible into this direction. It is going to help everyone. So I agree 100% with everything what Godfrey also said. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya. I see
Senija.
Yeah, sorry for the pronunciation. Yeah, I see the second question. Yeah, it's about AI. What is your opinion on how artificial intelligence should be used in the writing and reviewing process? Actually, are you using AI for reviewing, or how you use it to check the authenticity? I don't know. Professor Godfrey, you mentioned the authenticity, and you mentioned that the reviewer had to check the authenticity if it's generated by the AI or mechanism or not. You would like to comment on that question?
Yes, it's becoming increasingly difficult to verify the authenticity of papers. AI keeps getting better and better, and the challenge is to determine the extent to which AI is allowed in regular publications, because it's creeping in. Some authors already use it for different reasons, including spell checking, including sentence construction, improving their English, right? So these are, I would say, legitimate concerns. The shift, the tipping point, is when the piece itself is in a way generated by artificial intelligence. So it's no longer your argument. It becomes it becomes a machinist's argument. You can't claim credit for something that you haven't generated, you know? So, and usually when you start reading, you realize if you're sharp enough, the way that things are written will tell you immediately that this has been generated in an artificial manner. But the challenges are getting larger and larger, as I said, because the software keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
And you would like to add something more? Yeah, please go ahead.
So even when I'm reading the sections from my PhD students, I can really see what is not generated by the student, but generated by AI. And I say like, well, be careful. This will never be published because this is not you who wrote it. Oh, this is me. I wrote this. I'm sorry. Like, come on. Like, and then you're right. So, like this is again comes to self-confidence. You trust the generated text better than you trust yourself. But you as author knows better than this mediocre text generated by AI. You know your data better than AI knows it. And if you wanna put your data for the AI to generate the outcome of it, like good luck with that. But you yourself can do it better. If you can't do it better, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't publish it there. Like if you can't do it better than AI. So maybe the AI should be a benchmark if you wanna see, can I do it better than AI? If the answer is no, then don't publish. Then if the answer is yes, then go ahead and publish. But don't use AI in that kind of situation. So that is something how AI can be used. But AI, of course, can be used if you're testing the algorithm, if you're using it in this kinds of if you're using fuzzy logic, if you're using this kind of more computer science based programs. I'm not talking about this. Like, of course, you have to. Like when you have a big falsified time series analyses or something like that, like you have like rule-based modeling, and you construct AI model like to but this is different case than what I mentioned for the first time. So these are completely two different contexts. One is more engineer-based, and another, and I'm not talking about this, but I'm talking really about social science here, which is the role. And of course, as Godfrey said, yeah, if you wanna change the syntax, add or the, as is always problem with in my own writing, like, well, yeah, that's helpful. That makes us who are not whose English is not a native language, can help us a little bit, but don't cross the line, because you will just jeopardize the quality of your own work.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
thank
reputation
you.
is everything. So be careful.
Yeah.
If you use your reputation,
Yeah.
goodbye to your career.
Yeah. Goodbye to your career if your paper is retracted.
Yeah, this is a very, very important point. Actually, it's 2:46. I do not see further question in the chat window. And to be respectful to our agenda, I would like to conclude the webinar part A section here. Again, thank you to our speakers. Thank you for your time. Thank you that they found interesting to our webinar and participated with their insightful points. And thank you all for attending today. And I hope you found the webinar and discussions interesting for your reviewer and author tasks in the coming. And now we have 5 minutes break